Alright, so the Ttokatoa Rroneek Bichir window is about to open, and all you have is a versatile lure. And now you're probably wondering, what should I do? Well, good news. Versatile lure is actually probably the best bait to use for Niikiwerepi trout, but it does require a lot of thought and management and is not something I recommend newcomers to fishing to do, but it is doable. So, here's how this works. It's going to revolve heavily around ambitious lure and makeshift bait and again GP management. So higher the GP the better. But before you make your first mooch as the window opens, this is a fake window. Use makeshift bait, you'll cast out, and then you'll wait and see what bites. Remember that Niikiwerepi trout does not mooch into itself. The only thing that you care about on a Niikiwerepi trout mooch is the ferocious bite. So anything else you ignore. So if we just get rid of all of these baits here, and we'll just pretend that, realistically what might happen, Ttokatoa doesn't bite. And if it does, the reason why we use makeshift bait is it will enable you to use Spareful Hand to store it if it is before the time that the Rroneek Bichir is available. So you use up all of your baits, you still have some makeshift bait left. What do? You cast out, and then you immediately use Ambitious Lure up to 3 times or until the large jawed message appears. Now, at this point, with nothing slapped, you are going to reel in any strong bites before 22 seconds, because 22 seconds is the latest that Niikiwerepi trout will bite. Anything after that, it's not going to bite. Anytime before that, it could. So you're going to reel in anything. If it's a trail trout like it is here, we use surface slap, and then you cast back out and use ambitious lure immediately again. Now, with trail trout slapped, you use any bite, or you'll catch any bite before 17 seconds. Any strong bite before 17 seconds. Now, why that sudden change? The difference is, like I said, Niikiwerepi trout can bite all the way up to 22 seconds, but starting at 17 seconds, Tayori sucker can bite. Now, we want to be efficient with our time and our GP, so we don't want to waste a potential Niikiwerepi trout, so we wait until 22 seconds, and if we don't get a strong bite, we don't reel it in, or if we do, we reel it in anyways. But while trail trout is slapped, which is the next most common bite behind Niikiwerepi trout, we don't want to waste that slap. And so at 17 seconds, when Tayori's sucker can start to bite, we use rest and we recast. Now, if we get a bite before 17 seconds, we reel it in, and it will be guaranteed to be a Niikiwerepi trout. Now, at this point, because I still have some angled dart stacks, I will use Spareful Hand, and I will use Identical Cast, especially because I also have a cordial. And then I will go, and I will catch a second Niikiwerepi trout using makeshift bait. I do use makeshift bait a lot because we are going to need to be mooching Ttokatoas, and we need to be able to store them if it's before the Rroneek Bichir window is open. So, I bring in another Niikiwerepi trout. And once I do that, I will either mooch them if I'm in the window, or I will, if I'm before the window, maybe during prep, I will just cast out again. So I would have gone out, I would mooch. If it's a Ttokatoa, I would handle that appropriate based on the time. I would select the next one, cast back out, see what happens, etc., etc. And then I just repeat this. The reason that this works so well is that because Niikiwerepi trout has such a high bite rate on versatile lure, the ambitious lure makes that so much more likely. Despite powerful hook set being the dominant hook set of Lake Tawari, it suppresses the bony tail chub, which already has a high bite rate. It will suppress that down so much and make it more likely that Niikiwerepi trout is going to bite. Now, When we start to run out of Angler's Art Stacks and Makeshift Bait, that's when we switch over into using Patience 2. This is where some of the challenge starts to kick in. With Patience 2, you're going to be sucking up 560 GP. You're going to need to spend 50 to reel in and 60 at most to be able to use Ambitious Lure. While Patience 2 is active, you may not want to actually use Spareful Hand or even Identical Cast if it would be prohibitive of you being able to continue to mooch or to be able to actually continue the mooch chain if you have a Ttokatoa, or if you even get a Ttokatoa. So, be very mindful of that. The only time that I would use Patience 2 and Identical Cast is if my cordial was about to be come off cooldown or was available for use. That's when I would use that. So this is a really, really just quick sample of how you can utilize Versatile Lure. It really does come down to use Ambitious Lure, manage your GP smartly, don't get too aggressive with it, because with that Trail Trout slap, Niikiwerepi Trout has an estimated, now this is an estimated number based off of a base bite rate that Ttokatoa got through manually gathering and measuring data, but with a Trail Trout slap, Niikiwerepi Trout has a 50% chance to bite. And if it isn't slapped, if the Trail Trout isn't slapped, it's estimated to be around 38% chance to bite with 3 stacks of Ambitious Lure. So, more often than not, that Niikiwerepi Trout is going to bite. But you still have to be smart, don't be greedy, be very careful with your GP. If you don't think you're going to be able to continue to mooch or to be able to catch large size Niikiwerepi Trout, to be able to mooch and continue mooching, because you remember you have to mooch the Ttokatoa, it's a loop, do not use Identical Cast. The primary goal here is to be able to maintain the ability to do a mooch loop. So if that means you have to keep your GP at, say, above a certain level for you to do that, go for it. That's what you need to be able to do, so be smart with that. But that's kind of the rough notes on this. I will have a more detailed breakdown and of the numbers and the strategies and the choices in A Fisher's Guide to Eorzea, which will be linked below, so please read that if you'd like a more detailed example and breakdown of this strategy. But I hope this helps you out a little bit. Again, very much not a beginner-friendly strategy, but a strategy that is an alternative if you want to spice things up a little bit. So until next time, good luck and happy fishing.